All right, man. It's big superhero time, man. It's my favorite time of
Big
year.
superhero time.
I love it, man. I love when the movies come out and they big superhero movies. So what what did we get this year? This the first one? When did Wakanda Forever come out? Was that at the end of the last year or it's been out? Yeah,
That was last year.
yeah, like November
So
or
this
something.
is the first one, and then we're gonna get
Guardians.
Guardians,
Yeah,
and then something else. I thought.
from Marvel. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Oh well, the Flash is coming out on DC, but you know,
Keep forgetting about that, even though we just talked about
yep, 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 yep.
it.
But man, so Ant-Man and the Wasp wasn't that great of a fan of the second movie. But here we go. 2023, PG-13, 2
PG-13.
hours, 4 minutes, action,
Four.
adventure, comedy. Scott Lang and
Huh.
Hope Van Dyne, along with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, explore the quantum realm where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. And this was directed by Peyton Reed, who's been around for a little bit. So, who's in this movie, Tiff?
Okay, so we have Paul Rudd, of course, the handsome Paul Rudd.
That never gets old, Paul Rudd. Goodness gracious, he
Yeah,
still looks the same.
he said, look, people say he's aging backwards. So
really?
handsome.
Damn.
I brought my dear friend Jessie, and she said the only reason she even wanted to go was because Paul Rudd was in it.
Oh, well, Jesse.
Because people love Paul Rudd. Evangeline Lilly.
Yep.
Jonathan Majors.
Oh, yeah. He's everywhere.
He is kind of everywhere.
He's everywhere.
He's getting around. Catherine Newton.
Yep.
That's Cassie. David Dastmalchian, excuse me.
Yes.
Katie O'Brien, William Jackson Harper, Bill Murray, Michelle Pfeiffer, Corey Stoll, Michael Douglas.
Yep.
There we go.
I thought that Katie O'Brien was Michelle Rodriguez. I swear to God. I was like, did Michelle Rodriguez get buff? I was like, what's happening here, man? And then, it's really weird that the young girl who played Cassie in the original movie, she's actually acting right now, and she literally could have played this role. I was surprised
But she didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really surprised they didn't switch because I think it's been 3 of them now that played this role. So let's get into this before we go any further. But one word. A little loud there. Sorry about that, y'all. One word, Jeff. What you got?
Setup.
Explain.
This movie feels a little bit like nothing but a setup for something that's coming.
Oh, like the actual next stage of Marvel?
Yeah.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
I know, but I said nothing but.
Okay. Oh, you said nothing but. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
What's your one word? I'm worried now.
Joy.
Oh my God. Okay, that's fine.
Joy.
I want to hear why you think that.
My expectations was low going into this, but it was high because of the presence of Jonathan Majors and the character of Kang, who I'm familiar with in the comic books, which they did a fantastic job, as far as that transition. I like Paul Rudd playing the Ant-Man. I like the world that they created. I just, in the last movie with the big Pez being thrown around and some of this stuff, it just didn't resonate with me. It didn't, it's like going home, but it felt so weird. But with this movie, they were able to take us in a place that was total green and blue screen everywhere. And not one moment did I feel like that's what was happening. I think they did.
Okay, I would agree with that.
Such a good job with all the creatures and things being different, but familiar. I really felt like I went to this place and I was like, I had such a good time. I felt joyful. I was like, I love it, man. I love what was going on in this thing. So, and
for me, because it was such a setup. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No,
because it was such a setup that I feel like the only person who really had a chance to get through the kind of curve and arc of a decent, where I felt like, yeah, we heard a whole story about this individual, in which I felt fulfilled, and the actor had enough room within that.
Majors
with Kang, and I thought that was a very interesting story. There's nothing wrong with that storyline. He had room to move in it, and I thought, if you weren't familiar, I'm not super familiar with that. So the kind of betrayal that there's some plot points in the movie so that you kind of feel like, this isn't something bad is going to happen, right? You have that ominous build. You have that idea that to escape from the quantum realm is probably not going to be, it's kind of like you might have to go on the black market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of a feel to it. So you knew that it wasn't going to be right. So the reveal was also still heartbreaking. And I thought that like he did a really good job with like we don't know from this movie yet the implications of Kang within the universe and the multiverse and what he was meaning when he said that he needed to be there to both, he has destroyed it and he needs to save it or whatever, right? We don't know the implications of that.
Yeah, what was coming. Let's hit those spoilers.
Yeah, what was coming.
So,
sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
So we can do our duties. We hit them spoilers.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it. So Ant-Man finally got his wish. He got famous, right?
Yeah, and I thought that was a very charming part of this movie, but for me it was upsetting because I felt like the rest of the movie didn't have the kind of breadth that would give him the room to be his charming self, which is what we come for in an Ant-Man movie. Mm-hmm. So they tried to really put it in there. Yeah, they could, opening and ending it, capping it, so that you were like, oh, it's still there. But I mean, I did like the book. It's pretty funny. Sure.
It worked for me. I liked his lifestyle. I liked the montage of him going back with that creepy boss of the Baskin Robbins.
Sure.
I mean, they got Ray Park and in this in the credits and stuff because like he didn't even talk. It was just one little scene where they showed him for one set. Randall Park. I'm sorry, not Ray Park. Ray Park played Darth Maul, but and so he's gotten everything he wants, and I was like, oh, this is cool, but with the daughter getting arrested, and Hank being the criminal that he is, I mean, because they don't care, like that family doesn't care,
right? I mean, I think that because, and that's an interesting point I think about this maybe film is that, or the Ant-Man franchise generally speaking, is that like if this was skewed in a different way, they would definitely be villains, because
breaking out of jail, all that kind of shit,
right? They're criminals, but they believe that what they are doing is right, because just like every evil person.
Hope was pretty much they were both outlaws and on the outside of the law, Hank and
and living like in certain ways so that they couldn't get caught,
exactly.
And then we have this whole thing after we get first off, before we go too far, I do want to know, what are your thoughts on the fact that they are actually making that book?
What book?
You are going to be able to buy that book.
Paul Rudd's book.
That Ant-Man biography.
I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome, man. I mean, I've read books before, like with Star Wars, like it was like Luke Skywalker's journal.
Yeah, but I guess,
yeah. And so it's like,
you know what? This is not for me. That's what I'm realizing.
Okay.
Whatever this is, so I shouldn't say anything because it's not for me.
So it's like written, from Luke.
It's written for someone else.
It's someone else. That's kind of, it's not canon, but you're just like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, somebody has found this as private thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what? I changed my mind. If you're looking forward to that, bless you. I hope that you really enjoy it.
But I didn't know they were doing that. But it's not like I've seen it before, so it's like
you're like, I'm old hat. I'm familiar. So when they get to the quantum realm, which happens pretty quickly because the daughter is experimenting with the quantum realm. Now, even though Michelle Pfeiffer,
Janet,
I should remember her name because they say it about 1 million times in the movie because she's kind of a wanted criminal down in the quantum realm. Despite her not having told them anything, it feels very much like they should know that that's something they shouldn't have been doing.
Well, I don't know. I like the fact that they were, the old man was working with, the young lady, and they were, doing this little family project and stuff like that. And if she would have just, spoke up, I mean, what danger,
But what would she have said? Hey, don't ever send a signal down there.
Well, maybe you should have. Okay, so if you have the information, and Hank is like one of the most smartest people in the universe, right? If he has the information and be like, oh, all that shit went down, then maybe we shouldn't send a damn signal because who knows what's
sure what's down there. But the thing about it is that they already don't. I'm willing to let this one slide.
Okay.
But I was like, you just wouldn't be fucking with shit like that. But I guess people are like, what's at the bottom of the ocean? And maybe when we get down there, you guys, it's just going to be the quantum realm. And we're going to be like, fuck this shit. We've made a
You
mistake.
got to think like
And
a
we should,
scientist.
and because nobody was like,
So,
it might be bad down there.
right. So they all go down there, and then it gets so interesting for me, like with the different factions and all that stuff. And only thing they messed up on is that the time, because like, you know, he was down there for 5 years, and you know, how long, just say, you know, you be down there for a second and it's like you've been gone for 30 years and stuff. So when she kind of went back, all the people she known should have been gone, you know, because he
she was down with her for 30 years. That would be like what, 5 million years down
right,
there?
right. So that I was like,
because everything's smaller. But then even then, how long were they down there?
Yeah, that's
like this time, like a day. I felt like maybe it was a day.
So, you know, I like the background for Kang. I thought it was really interesting, especially when those creatures were attacking her and he saved her, you know, and then we find out that they worked together for like, you know, all those years. And I was like, did he get the booty?
Yeah. Why are you asking that question? Because the answer is yes. There's not a question.
Okay, there you go. I was like, I think
no questions. If she was sleeping with Bill Murray, there's just no way that she wouldn't have slept with him.
Yeah, and because
here's the thing. She didn't know that he was a bad person. And even then, again, a bad person according to our restrictive concepts of what it would be for someone to not, you know, like he said, you don't know. I have done these things because they were necessary. You don't know because you don't see all of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that like, if you did see all of time, you'd have the right to make decisions for the rest of us. As I'm just saying, you would be operating on an entirely different level than a normal human being.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like your understanding of the day or your lifetime or even the history of the world.
Yeah. So there were so many charming things down there, like drink the ooze,
the
whatever
guy.
it was. You know,
the one guy from The Good Place was in there. He was the guy who could read minds.
That was slick. I enjoyed.
He was very funny, and I wanted more of that man. And he's in it a little bit, but not enough for me.
Yeah. I agree. He was very charming, and I just liked his power and stuff. You know how.
Yeah, and he was just kind of like, I liked that. Like, I feel like that power really would manifest. Because he could, you know, he could hear, like, he's like, it's horrible to hear everyone's thoughts all the time. And he was like, what do you say? Everybody is disgusting. And I was funny. Like, that was just so funny. And like, I believe that would be such.
Like, stop. You're not making it any better.
And I think that, like, that's the kind of stuff I like to see within both superhero movies and then even outside of like a superhero movie where they might actually have that character as the main focus, where like you're exploring a different kind of side of the coin from a normal superhero where you're like, I don't want to hear your motherfucking thoughts. This is a misery. Yeah. So like having got to that point where he is like just this kind of like exasperated, world weary person who has this power is an amazing kind of examination of that.
So the design of the world, when they started the war, to me, this was so much more satisfying than like, I don't know. I think like in Wakanda Forever, when you swing in a spear at somebody and you just, you know, and then they don't even show what happens at the end. But at least with these ray guns they were shooting, they were effing people up, man. People were like, and I was like, oh shit, were they there? You know, they ain't coming back.
You did feel a lot like, and I think they kind of get around that in these because, like you said, they are like computer generated, and a lot of them don't even look humanoid. Mm-hmm. So the quote unquote violence of the film is like reduced to characterizations of violence, which is in some ways worse. And so like, I watched this movie and I did get there in time to see the trailers. And before this movie, there was a trailer for a pretty scary movie. Obviously rated PG-13 or lower because they couldn't show it if it wasn't. But it felt, I was like, boy, I feel like a kid who came to see Ant-Man might, like a 13-year-old could see this and be like, boy, I'm going to have problems. Mm-hmm.
Okay. How we get here?
I don't what?
How we get here? We talking about this trailer? What happened?
Oh, I'm just saying that you said it was PG-13 and that there's this violence.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And my assumption of like this movie where I watched it and I thought, yeah, pretty actually subdued violence. It's, you know, there's a lot of violence, but it's not real people or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then, but this trailer beforehand was like, I was like, oh, that's a bit much.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm like, so Kane is about to get out, and when Ant-Man, is Giant Man, and he comes in and just
Giant
well,
Man.
that no, that's how it was in comic book. He
Oh my god! I mean, I never even thought about that, but
yeah,
it's pretty funny.
Giant Man, so
That's
yeah, and
okay.
so
Hats off to you,
yeah,
everybody. That's pretty
he
great.
comes wrecking the shop and like just murdering millions of people like as he ran.
Yeah, he really. Yeah, like the thing about it is, I saw that and I was like, my first thought was it literally the word Earth Destroyer. That's what came into my
Yeah,
brain.
yeah,
Like even the thunderous nature of your foot hitting the ground in that situation
yeah.
is going to cause like seismic activity, or it would if we're considering the same kind of
Yeah.
like earth-like elements. But I think that would cause some destruction, just smashing the people who were trying to run in and help too. Just everyone's dead.
So I was a little worried about Kang because I'm like, Scott Lang shouldn't have been an issue for you.
Yeah.
They were. He really wasn't an issue for him, but he got in a couple of good, got
Yeah.
smackaroos. But and Kang beat the shit out of him in the end. But I was like, I thought it lasted way longer than it should have. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, because King's like all kind of like an all
yeah, he's
powerful
a
type of
Thanos,
person.
but smarter. And so it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know if this, should have lasted this long, but it's a movie. And I was surprised that Kane was defeated once and for all.
Yeah. So my thing is, I saw that, and I wonder if he's
I,
not,
I don't
because I wonder if he
it.
got sucked somewhere deeper, or because like
Oh,
it looked like he was getting sucked into
now
something.
we got to talk about the elephant. What did you think about
Okay.
MODOK? What's your thoughts on MODOK?
Oh, I'm conflicted about this
I'm
character
conflicted
because like
too.
like I was like, I don't mind it so much, but then the
The
face
face, the stretchy
looked
of the
so
face, it
bad.
did with the helmet on. It was cool. I
Yeah,
was in it.
yes, with the helmet on,
Yeah,
I was like, that's
but it
great.
just
That's the
looked like
way. This is what it
it looked
is.
like film that was stretched, and you were projecting it
Yes,
from different places.
yes, it looked like somebody was in the room I was in,
Projecting that on the screen.
projecting the
Yeah,
face onto the thing. And then there was also a time when Kang lowered his helmet that it kind of looked like that thing because they didn't want to like make more work on so that because obviously the helmet is like
yeah,
CGI'd, so it's like they don't know how to do a CGI face.
yeah. It bothered me. So when every time he put the helmet on, I was like, okay, better, 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 better.
Yeah, we're like, okay,
Yeah,
yeah. It felt like a reprieve from the times that one you'd have to deal with looking at the face, which was quite terrible, like in a general sense, odd and strange. And then two, bad as far as quality.
well, if you were gonna do MODOK in the Marvel universe, I think they did it a great way. They took a character who wasn't him and made him him. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I think that was
I
fine.
like when the girl called him a dick. Stop being a dick, and he
Yeah.
I am a dick. I was like, I like it.
I liked his
Yeah,
ending. I thought he had a nice
I did
ending.
too. So Kane
Um,
is dead. We go back to the
yeah.
real world. The Stinger shows all the Kangs in the unit. The Kane, I forgot what he called that in the comic books. So it's like the Council of Kangs or something like that, where
Hmm.
they actually control time and all this stuff. And so all this is coming to the Marvel universe. And I just like you, the main villain is the guy who got murdered, and I want to see more
Hmm.
of that. I don't,
Yeah.
him outside. But like you said, I wasn't so sure he was dead either. I was like, is he? But they were like, he's defeated. It's
Of
over.
course they're gonna say that, but they always have like. But
But
then
you should know because
that
you control time and space and
yes,
multiverses and stuff. So
yeah, it's not over. And like in that situation, I feel like those characters are more foolish, and I get that we have to be. And I think that in that way, Iron Man, Ant-Man's a good person for this.
yeah.
Well, he has to because he's going to the quantum realm.
Hmm.
Because he is kind of a very kind of generally happy-go-lucky character that would be like at the end of the movie. If they hadn't done the beginning part, the end would have been maybe even more charming because he was like, "Is this bad? Nope, I got nothing to worry about." I thought
Yeah,
that was like
that
a
was good.
really very
That was good. Yeah.
it was good, and also like even as silly as it is, it's a good for a plot point because that's exactly what he wouldn't go tell the other
Hmm.
Avengers. He wouldn't do this or that because he would be like, "No, it's done." But even the way that he was killed, quote unquote, I was like, that looks like something that would be escapable in
Yeah.
this kind of
One funny
universe.
thing, one of the funniest moments in this film to me is when Darren was dying and he was like, I'm an Avenger. And he was like, "Ooh."
He's like, "Yeah, yeah,
It was funny to me. It's like
yeah."
he didn't want to give it to him, but he gave it to him because it was his final moment. But it was just like funny that's the immediate point where he went to that he's an Avenger. I was like, oh shit. Oh boy. So that it was I enjoyed it, Tiff. This is not too serious, not too, it wasn't sad at all. I enjoyed this so much better
Sure.
than the last
I felt kind of sad for Kang a little bit.
I don't think he did. I had no feelings for him of
I think because he's presented his it's a very theatrical performance. And there was something of a sorrow in just the way that he talked.
Oh yeah, he was a sad person.
Yeah, so I was like, I want to feel sad for you for some reason.
The character, in the universe was always a tragic character because he had like some love that he couldn't, who was like trapped in between timelines and was dead but alive and stuff, kind of like Mr. Freeze, Doctor.
Oh sure, his wife.
Yeah, very much like that. But I see they stayed away from that, which was interesting to me. So,
well, maybe he'll come back.
Maybe we don't know. So I think that's it, Tiff. We came to do the damn thing. We got it done. I enjoyed myself here today. I love who would win in the fight. If we got to do that again.
And if you guys want to send us a list of superheroes, we'll try to match them up.
And they don't always have to be superheroes. We can who would win in a fight in action. Whatever.
Oh yeah, like a John Wick versus like
John Rambo.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Someone really laughed.
That's pretty good.
Let me cough.
Oh shit. So I'm the host of Fans Patrol. My name is Montego. With me is my wonderful co-host, Miss Tifflebot. Say goodbye to the lovely, lovely people, Tiff.
It's been a pleasure as always.
Indeed. Until next week, boys and girls, we will be on patrol.
Patrol.
Time.